Hello, everyone. Welcome to LOCKBEARD PHENOMENA number 144. Orbs sucked MH370 into a portal. It is Monday, the Moon's Day, April 22nd, 2024. Looks like JoJo was here first, but says probably won't stay long. I know it's late over there in the UK and Europe, and maybe one of these days I'll be able to back it up to more of a 5 o'clock kind of thing. Well, 5 o'clock my time. So it's a little bit earlier where you're at. 5 o'clock my time would be about 4 o'clock in Florida, 4 p.m. in Florida, 7 o'clock in California, and so on. Angel's here. Welcome. Ocean Pond is here. Welcome. What is going on? Throw the chat on the screen, I guess. Kiz 1.8T. Welcome. Got heavy representation from the UK again. That's cool. Except Mr. Lee. Mr. Lee's late. He's going to miss everything again. Bat Mom says wrong. What's wrong? What's wrong? Oh, what I say? Oh, I went backwards with it, didn't I? Yeah. 5 o'clock here would be 3 p.m. in California. Sorry. What did I say the other way around? Yeah. My hearing, from whatever illness I've had, has messed up my hearing. Everything's muffled and disoriented. Welcome to the chat, Bat Mom, and there's Harvey Dent. Welcome, Harvey Dent. Bat Mom says the world is wrong and my bank account being minus is wrong too. It is. It's the U.S. citizens have been left high and dry. You know, there's a lot of people out there trying to take advantage, like this guy who hangs out actually around where I'm parked and other places I hang out at. And all he does is panhandle, which if you have need, you have need. But, he claims that he is sent here by God or some nonsense. And it was some weird shit the dude said. So apparently that's the work he does on Earth. He doesn't need a job, basically. Which, based on what I've talked to, I don't think this guy should be trusted in any job anyway. But I would imagine someone with the mental issues this guy has could get, some kind of public assistance. But he's still out hassling people on the street. Well, like one day he was in McDonald's asking people to buy him food inside McDonald's. I'm surprised they might not have realized he was doing it. He seems to be trying to be real low key about it. He knows what he's doing. He shouldn't be doing enough that he knows not to hide the fact that he's doing it. But as for the rest of it, the fact is we've been slowly squeezed for years and years. Our income doesn't go up as fast as the cost of living does. You know, a nation where used to you could raise your family on a single income from outside the house, and you could have a stay-at-home mother, which you really need. Okay, there's so many reasons why you need a stay-at-home parent, but instead you end up with two parents trying to work, and then they got to find, you know, they got to pay someone else to look after the kids sometimes. Well, that don't make any damn sense. You have two parents, you know, but the way it is, it's just you're set. They got you squeezed down like that. And then with the immigration issues, now I've met a number of people who are from, you know, Central South America countries. The guy I was just talking to that I know from around here now, I've gotten to know him pretty well. Really nice guy. He's been married for 35 years to an American citizen, but he was physically assaulted at his home in this town here by the police, you know. And so why? You know, I knew another guy like that. He'd been married for over 20 years to an American citizen, but the authorities always find excuses why. Oh, we got to do this, we got to do that. You got to pay us another $1,000, another $3,000, and they were always shaking these guys down for money because they know they can get away with it. They got them by the balls. You know, as far as I'm concerned, as soon as you marry an American citizen, you're a freaking American citizen too. And both these guys have kids. These guys are getting all kinds of shit. Who, you know, they're really our neighbors. These aren't the criminals that Donald Trump talks about coming out of the prisons and stuff in Venezuela and other places. No, these are just regular people, and their circumstances landed them here, and whatever, you know. And there might be some questionable natures to the legality of how they originally got here. But, you know, damn it, if you've been here for 35 years, you married an American citizen, you know, I say the statute of limitations is up on that shit. Why are they beating this guy on his porch? He's a contributing member of society. I watch him shop all the time. You know, he works. Meanwhile, these other ones that are here to take over our nation and destroy all of this are getting handed, you know, here's a hotel key, here's a debit card. Things are just ass backwards. It's goddamn clown world. We would have no problem absorbing a lot of this Central American and South American immigration under the proper legal process, controlled, you know, check everybody out, and we would have no problem absorbing those. It's these other ones that are being shipped over. A lot of them are from the Middle East. They're, you know, potential terrorists. A lot of them are from Africa for some damn reason, you know, being just brought over here in huge numbers. And, you know, what the hell's going on? Well, they're trying to create social chaos. They know that when you move a bunch of different peoples of different cultures too quickly into an area, you create war. And we're about to see war. You know, people that are from here are going to get tired of seeing their daughters raped. Yeah, I mean, that's what's going on. And their sisters and their wives. They're going to get sick of seeing their tax dollars be taken away and given away to all these other people who came here illegally in the first place, who were brought here by illegal, criminal, corrupt traitors to our nation. But I can tell you, these guys, you know, one of them's from Mexico, one of them's from the Colombia that I got to know that went through this whole deal where they were married for years to an American citizen. They worked, but and authorities knew they were here, but didn't deport them. They kept them here and kept them in this little limbo because they could jack with them every so often and say, oh, you got to come talk to us and come, you know, and and we need $3,000. We need another $2,000, and they always want more and more money, just taking money. Meanwhile, these guys are paying Social Security and taxes and stuff on their income. They became like we're slaves too, but these guys were turned into even more of a slave. Master was keeping an even bigger cut of their income. What the hell? That one says the world. Yeah, the world is wrong. Yeah, none of us should be in a minus right now, but they're squeezing us more and more, and they're trying to get us pissed off more and more too. Don't let that slide out of your radar. They want us uncomfortable. They want us pissed off because they're trying to create chaos and war in the streets. Oh, Nikki's here. Welcome. Raptor's here. Welcome. Everybody in chat. Hope all's well. You can have some of our immigrants too. Yeah, you guys are getting heavily hit from the Middle East. And I'm sure y'all have noticed the crime has gone through the roof. That culture is not compatible with yours. Look, immigration can work. Like I said, like the Central American countries, South American countries, Mexico, these countries are culturally pretty compatible with the United States. They can assimilate just fine. Middle Easterners, it's extremely hard to assimilate a Middle Easterner with their religious beliefs. Their religious belief will not jive for the most part. It's going to end in disaster. You get too many of them here, next thing you know, well, they already are. They're demanding Sharia law. Well, that's some bullshit right there. Sorry. Fighting age men. Yeah. Fighting age men. Civil War movie, predictive programming, perhaps. Raptor says George Carlin talks about all this on his specials. Yes, very much so. That's on the other chat. Sorry. Yeah, George Carlin. He knew if only he could have been president. He died too young. Allen snack bar everywhere. All right, this is supposed to be LOCKBEARD Phenomena. We're going to talk about last time I was going to talk about MH370, and anyway, it's actually kind of a big thing if we go through all the video and stuff I got set up to look at. So really, I wasn't necessarily looking forward to doing. It's going to be at least another hour and a half, I think. Anyway, and then Pat wanted to come on, so we had Pat on because he wanted to talk time travel, which is cool. Cool. It sounds like he's wanting to talk about other things than Bigfoot's a little bit, time travel's pretty cool subject. I would just, again, I would caution people, if you watch too much science fiction, don't get your expectations too high about what science can do in regards to time travel. The reality is reality depends on time functioning exactly the way it's supposed to. It isn't as fluid as those yahoos writing Star Trek would have you think. You don't create a new universe every time you have a time travel event paradox situation, right? Existence depends. Okay, so let's take it. I guess we'll take a little diversion here. I need an object. So there's, we talk about one, 2, 3 dimensions, right? A dimension isn't a thing, by the way. A dimension isn't a thing. It's a way. It's a concept of understanding, the nature of things. There's 3 dimensions here, but so does that Do those 3 dimensions to this object make this object exist? And the answer is no. No, it needs a 4th dimension at least that we're aware of to exist in our reality. And that 4th dimension is time, because without time existing, without the actual passage of events, you don't exist. So that's why, like, if you watch sci-fi, think about it. If you really think about it, without time, you cease to exist, right? If that's the 4th dimension, you need a moment at least to exist. Without time, you won't exist. So you could have 3 dimensions all day long, except you don't have a day because you don't have time, so you don't exist. Period. So if they were to stop, if they were going to try and go backwards in time, they would have to, slow down the forward passage of time, and it would come to a point where there's no time passage. Existence would cease to be at that point, for them anyway. Assuming all kinds of other things about the logistics of the whole, it's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. The whole idea of reverse time travel is simply ridiculous. And people's understanding of time, because again, like I said, that if I was to say, hey, this is the 3rd dimension, well, there's nothing to look at there. It's a concept of understanding, of objects, geometry, think geometrical things. It doesn't have existence in and of itself. And time is the same way. Time doesn't really have an existence in and of itself. The passage of moments is just the passage of moments. But so when you got scientists trying to say, we're trying to understand, how, time, and there must be some kind of particle involved. They think there's going to be a particle that controls time. No. Look, that particle itself, if it was a real thing, would require 1, 2, 3 dimensions, 4 dimensions to exist. It would require time. The time is no. Am I making any sense at all? So you gotta think of time. And that's why whenever space time came up, I was like, well, it's bullshit. Space time is bullshit. That whole concept is in science fiction. It's bullshit. There is no space time. These mainstream scientists have in their attempts to try and understand reality and understand gravity stuff. So they'll show you an image, right, with like where it's like a whirlpool where things go down into a depression. They use a 2-dimensional depression to try and represent the 3-dimensional nature of things, and they'll call it a gravity well. I mean, they have to actually back up to 2 dimensions to try and show you something 3-dimensional. That's bullshit. Is a bullshit understanding of gravity. You guys, until you guys understand what gravity is, how about you stop trying to explain gravity to anybody? You can see certain effects. Okay, we know shit falls, right? Shit falls. And that's about as best as you guys can hope for with these mainstream scientists. Now, if you want to understand what it actually is, get the hell over to Ken Wheeler's channel. And he explains it just fine. And you don't have to worry about an attempt at grand unification. There's no need for grand unification because it's not an explanation of the universe that's broken at the very beginning. It's already unified. It's already one. Everything is one. That's the thing about it. That's why it's so beautiful once you understand it and you start putting the pieces together. And you realize how stupid this whole concept, this whole quantum nonsense, Einstein's bullshit. Einstein himself even said, about, because look, instantaneous action at a distance, very well known, documented, experimentally proven effect. That there's an instantaneous effect from one point to another. Well, if there's a speed limit on the damn universe, you can't have an instantaneous effect like that. Einstein called it spooky, spooky action. Why? Because it's can't explain. He couldn't explain it. He couldn't explain it. Now, to some degree, this has something to do with the fact that space, distance, our Cartesian, you map everything out. All that's kind of an illusion. It's not really real. In a way, everything is all in one little point. Obviously, we can't perceive things that way. But, and if everything's really only in one little point, that kind of would explain why you can have instantaneous action and distance, I guess, in a way. But forget all that. So, a wave is passing through this as I whip this up and down. A wave passes all the way to the other end, right? You can't see it all and this don't really flow very well, but that's the kind of waves people are familiar with, right? That wave passes down, and that energy ends up on the other end, and you feel it down there. Now, wave is also not a thing. Ken always says, waves of what? Waves of what? Because it's always a wave of something. The wave itself isn't the thing. There's a transfer of energy going through some kind of medium. In this case, the medium is the strap. Seismic waves, the medium is the ground. Waves at the lake, the medium is water. Sound, the medium is air. Or sometimes it could be other substrates. All these things there's some crossover to other substrates. Other mediums. Light. So what's light? What's the medium? There's always multiple mediums. Like right now, I mean, the light's passing through the air. This is true. But it's also passing through the base medium of the universe, which is the ether. The universe. So, and that's the problem. The scientists are seeing indications, because they, back in the day, I'm sure they thought, like this, they should, that space is just empty, right? There's nothing there. But then they started to see, wait a minute, there's something there. Space isn't empty. So instead of just saying, okay, maybe there isn't any actual space, but there is something out there. Instead, they started trying to create shit like space-time. Okay, well, there's a fabric of space-time. Now, shut the hell up. And they come up with like quantum foam, dark matter, dark energy, and all this crap. And all of it is based on data that points to the existence of the ether, the base medium of everything. Everything exists and it depends on its existence on being a field, a wave, energy, frequency, something, a disturbance of some kind in the medium of the ether. And so when you talk about instantaneous action to distance, something in the ether instead of a wave that passes like that, which I'm not really showing it very well, but you have something where there's a push or a pull, and so what happens? If I pull on this end, you instantaneously feel it on the other end. Instantaneously. It doesn't take any time to get there like a wave like this, like the normal waves that you're familiar with. Scalar is what some people call it. Scalar waves. I know this is some, look, people, we got to start implementing our technology and the way we approach the universe based on the real science, like what I kind of gave you a little kind of preschool bit on right there. And a lot of people, you see it and you're like, well, what am I supposed to do with this? Well, I don't know really. But I do know that our science is incorrect. This whole quantum physics nonsense is complete bullshit. People are sitting here being worried about the freaking Large Hadron Collider. Like, oh, they're going to create a black hole that's going to suck the Earth in. No, they're not going to play. They're not going to. No. Those guys are over there just wasting billions of dollars with particle colliders. Okay, they're wasting billions of dollars on particle colliders. You might as well give them. If you gave them some Legos to play with, they would be more likely to do damage to the Earth than with the damn particle collider. Don't worry about it. Those guys are just dicking around with some bullshit. Oh, we discovered the God particle. No. Come on, guys. They gotta come up with some kind of bullshit every so often that sounds like, oh, it's a great discovery, so the money keeps coming, right? Son of a bitch. It's maddening. We waste so much money on bullshit. They just decide to send a bunch more money over to Ukraine. Meanwhile, there's a guy who has he puts videos online all the time. He's traveling around Ukraine. He's buying houses. It don't look like a war zone at all. Him and his girlfriend or whatever, they're just living life over there. It don't look like a war zone at all. If Ukraine is such a war-torn country, what's this guy doing? Just dicking around, making videos, and everything's just fine. I forget his name. It's bullshit. All this money's being. Meanwhile, we're sitting here struggling because the cost of living's gone up too fast compared to our income levels. Having dinner but listening. Rapper says there is time travel. You can go forward, but you can never go back. The time to where dinosaurs and all that were. Yeah, you can't go back. Yeah, we're always going forward. But what I'm trying to say is also that our existence depends on the forward movement of time. It's part. It is that fourth dimension. As weird as that seems, that gives us existence. Lil Kilroy was here. Welcome, Lil Kilroy. Volta BS is here. Welcome. All right. I'll quit with the nature of reality stuff. Someone asked me about this the other day, and I started talking a little bit about that, and I realized I was going off on too many tangents with the significance of this kind of thing, based, on reality, nature of reality, what it really is, what it appears to be for. Yeah, it's factual. I mean, because where to begin? Look, all these years learning all these different sciences, and you find the holes every so often. If you're really thinking, because a lot of people I saw, in college, they just kind of went through the motions. They weren't really thinking about the subject. They were just trying to learn to parrot back the very basic shit in the test so that they could pass the class and get their degree. Most of them didn't have any real intellectual curiosity whatsoever. So, which is fine if that's what you want in your life, but I was trying to understand everything. There was some shit that needed answered, and so the holes start showing themselves in certain sciences. I mean, I could tell you, like, when I was really young, reconciling evolutionary biology with my Christian beliefs at the time, because I was a Christian at the time, was something that I had to do. I had to walk that path. Though, if anyone had told me, evolutionary biology is true and your religious belief is wrong, I wouldn't have reacted very well. I had to walk that path on my own, and the more I learned about the sciences, the more I saw, look, the facts are here for this, and there's no facts to back up what my belief is. You don't have to abandon your belief in God, but you just gotta modify. Okay, is your God powerful enough to create evolution itself? You say he's all powerful. He created everything. And you look at the world, and in the world, there's this thing called evolution. If he created everything in the world. He created that evolution. So just call it, just say that and go on. Don't, you know, it'll be fine. Although I went a step further. But with other sciences, there were holes that couldn't be filled. They were messed up. You know, when you look at the whole problem of grain unification, there's a huge issue right there. That is the major gigantic hole right there. How in the hell do you have a hole this big, and you guys keep thinking that, well, if we just discover one new particle, or if we work out some more math, maybe the math will show how this all fits together. I'm like, no, you got two puzzle pieces that you guys created that don't fit together. So something's wrong. Something's wrong. And then, I bring up often because it's a pretty easy one for people to look into is the double slit experiment. Look into the double slit experiment. You know, depending on observation, depends on whether or not what result you get. You get result of particle or you get result of wave. Well, you can't be both. You can't be both. But what they do, they threw up their hands and said, it must be both. Oh, well, that's some grade A science right there. I'll tell you. No, it can't be both. You don't throw up your hand. What you do is you go back to the drawing board and figure out what was wrong with your initial suppositions in the first place. Your initial hypothesis was off. There's something you didn't consider. Your experiment did not get the correct answer. Essentially, they asked the question. There was option A, option B, and option C was all the above. But it can't be all the above. That's absolutely ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. So Ken Wheeler, field theory, talks about field theory. And field theory is unshakable. It's absolutely unshakable. Go try. People out here. Well, be a summoning Mr. Lee. Yeah, summon Mr. Lee. Summon Mr. Lee. All above your pay grade. Yeah, it probably is. I mean, it's maddening. It's maddening to live in a world where people who don't know anything about the sciences still accept a lot of the crap that they've gotten out of the mainstream science that is wrong, that is not remotely proven. And, like I brought up Big Bang Theory the other day. Big Bang Theory hasn't been proven at all, but most people who are being a little more trusting towards mainstream science than they should have trusted them enough they just kind of believe in Big Bang Theory. They believe the universe is created by the Big Bang. That hasn't been proven at all. It hasn't, not remotely. And some of the observations that they made, that they come up with this little hypothesis, because Big Bang Theory is a strong word. It's not a theory, it's hypothesis. Theory has science to back it up already. There's no science to back up Big Bang. It's a hypothesis, and it's I barely want to call it that. It's a crap guess based on what they observed, a little bit of what they observed. They're just guessing, and they're wrong. You want to know the real answer for why they had the observations they had? Ken Wheeler talks about that. That requires you to learn. There's some stuff you got to learn over on his channel to kind of wrap your mind around what was really going on, and so it's too much to go into here. Waltz Via says, "Jen just seen it coming across my screen. Be right back." No rush. Yeah. So let's go. This was talked about. So Do you remember about a decade ago, or however many years ago it was, MH370 disappeared, and so there's a lot of shenanigans. Like, so if you want to go back on Rumble and watch on the redacted channel here, the first was it 25 minutes? Yeah, the first 25 minutes of this, they talk about a lot of other shenanigans involved with the whole thing. We don't got time to go in. That stuff isn't really weird. That's not weird shit-o-meter as far as paranormal. It's just, various facts about the situation that don't add up. That adds to the case that something weird was going on here. Something not right. But so yeah, if you want to see the other stuff that they talk about here, but what we need to focus on is the funny business that this guy's about to talk about that's in these videos. And then, anyway, it's going to take a little while to go through this video. I don't know how much we can play and get away with, but yeah.
2 videos of it disappearing. So what do you think happened to the plane? Because now we have new videos that have emerged that have been causing quite a bit of controversy. Can you take me through that and just give me, your assessment as to what do you think happened based on the people that were on board this craft and now these new videos that have emerged?
Yeah, and I want to be fair as well to the skeptics and the debunkers out there as well and say that there have been several debunk attempts at these videos. And if people don't want to believe the videos to be real, it doesn't bother me at all. There has been a stock effect that actually I think has even convinced people like Joe Rogan and Jeremy Corbell of supposedly the zap. Now, the problem with this stock effect is that they've had to manipulate the stock effect in multiple aspects in order to get it to come close to matching even a single frame from the drone video that we see. And
what's a stock effect for? Yeah, what is a stock effect for our audience?
Stock effects are when you are doing visual effects and you want to save yourself some time from having to produce something from scratch. Use a stock effect and you insert it into your video creation. For example, this was done in the Killing Time video game, where the stock effect was put in exactly as it is. This was used in an Attack on Titan anime commercial, and it was also used in the movie Starship Troopers. And in none of those did they manipulate the stock effect in any way. And then supposedly in these videos, the debunkers have claimed that they have manipulated the color, reshaped it, resized it, adjusted various contrasts, etc. And that to me doesn't make any sense regarding how visual effects works. But I think it's the situation where people just have such a hard time believing that something like this could be possible that they're willing to believe any alternative explanation that doesn't have to kind of make them reevaluate their worldview. Now, the other big debunk that's out there is this cloud picture. So people have argued that this cloud picture has the clouds in it that match the satellite video, and that this proves that it must be fake in general. Now, the problem with this is that even before that cloud picture showed up, we already proved that the clouds were moving and evolving. Each frame of reference in the satellite video is only a few seconds long. So the clouds aren't moving significantly, but they're moving a little bit. They kind of evolve. You can see the edges kind of grow or shorten. We can see the first orb puncture a hole through one of the clouds. But the most important aspect that rules out a cloud picture is that when the zap happens in the satellite video, it actually accurately illuminates the clouds in 3 dimensions in the foreground and in the background. For this type of accurate illumination, you would have to build a full 3D rendered environment. You cannot use a 2D visual effect for that. So whether or not I'm just presenting the evidence for people that can come up with their own opinions on it, and later as well, I'll present the strongest evidence for why the videos are authentic. But I just want people to understand that, yes, there are some debunk attempts out there. I've refuted all of them. And then what I think happened to the plane is I think that this was an espionage event where the United States government was set up potentially the batteries to burn. They might have even detonated them at the specific location, knowing that they do have a predictable burn rate, that it's not going to take down the airplane right away, to cause a diversion of the airplane to go from the South China Sea at the location where Mike McKay sees a plane on fire from the oil rig. 9 witnesses along the coast hear loud noises the same moment Mike McKay sees the plane on fire when it first goes dark. I think that battery could have damaged the electronics bay and caused it to go dark. I also think the operatives on board the plane, those Iranians, could have been related to the United States military or covert operation. They could have been involved in some type of pseudo hijacking event. And the plane turns around 10 minutes later when it's turning towards Penang, the location where the pilot would go to in an emergency event. You have another B777 pilot that hears communication from the plane. Supposedly there was also a Tango call reported by Florence Duchangi that would indicate like a hijacking event that may have happened. And there's 8 fishermen at the same time, 10 minutes later, that see the plane flying unusually low. 8 different fishermen off the coast of Thailand and Malaysia. And this would be consistent with the idea that there was a fire and the pilot was depressurizing the plane, but not to asphyxiate the passengers, instead to give them enough oxygen, because the fire suppression devices take the oxygen out of the plane. So you need to depressurize the plane to get more oxygen into the plane and fly low enough that there's enough oxygen for people to be able to breathe. Because I don't know if people know this, but the passenger oxygen mask only lasts for about 20 minutes, 30 minutes at the most. So the plane is most likely being diverted to the rendezvous location where the assets would be prepared to perform what we see in the MH370 videos in the Nicobar Islands. I think you could also argue, like some have said, Dan Hanley, as well as Field McConnell, that potentially there is a remote control capability of the plane. The French father was told that the Americans know exactly what happened to the plane, that there was 2 AWACS in the area. And those AWACS are these large radar planes that can supposedly hack other craft and even potentially take control of them. The capability is called the Boeing Uninterruptible Autopilot. So I think that there's a good chance that that happened at least at some point during this flight path, and it may have happened after this plane reappears.
So earlier he talks about how there's a whole bunch of people on the plane who were from the same technology company, and they had their families with them, and that he thinks that what was going on here is these people were defecting to China, and he thinks that what we're seeing here, these orbs, are actually some kind of technology used by the United States to capture the plane and prevent these people from defecting. And what happens in the video is just is amazing. If this video is real, and there's two different videos because it's being filmed from different places, but if this is real, this is absolutely amazing shit. Like, basically, portals are real. The government uses orbs to create them somehow. Shit like that. Any stores have it? Probably most stores. Are you talking about whatever? They're Volta BS says, you feeling better? Better than I was. I'm still my head, man. There's something like my ears, like it's like everything's muffled. You know, I don't know. I can't hear right. Still got a cough. I've took some medicine, some cough medicine and stuff, and I don't know. I got some kind of virus, probably from somebody's kid. Yeah, Raptor's here, man. Find an asteroid stream we were talking about. No, didn't. Still been looking. So hang in tight here in a little bit. I know it's a little dry, but they're about to show the video where the plane disappears. It disappears. It gets sucked into an portal or whatever. The plane goes the fuck away. Like, the orbs keep circling in it. And he's going to talk a little bit more about the orbs and stuff before they get to the point where the plane just vanishes.
Somewhere over the Maldives to fly it to our remote military base in Diego Garcia. So
you believe it was a hijacking event, an espionage hijacking event, that with a diversionary use of fire, like catching these batteries that were on board on fire. So it was a slow burn, so it would be diverted. And then when it lands, the United States government can swoop in take whatever classified top secret information that was about to be shared and take it ourselves. Do you think it ever got to that point?
Yeah, that's the hard part. People always ask me, well, what happened to the passengers? And I think that the event we see in the MH370 videos, in the drone video, it is a cold endothermic event. So it's all black. Endothermic event means an absorption of energy. This is not an explosion that we're seeing in this video, which would indicate.
So this video, can you be precise and walk us through what we're seeing in this video, where it came from, and how we have this?
So in our drone video, we have an MQ-1C Gray Eagle. You can see the body of the drone, and we can tell this is either an MQ-1C Gray Eagle or an MQ-9 Reaper. MQ-1C Gray Eagle has images that you can find in Google image search that shows aerial surveillance cameras underneath the wings. And that's the same perspective that we see in the video. We can see this in a blue hue, or a rainbow palette, as it's being called. So it's more of like a traditional thermal view, slightly different than what we've seen from those forward-looking infrared cameras. This is a software setting in the Raytheon cameras that is available, and this may be the default settings as opposed to the black and white that we've seen from the DoD Navy videos that were declassified in 2017. Now we're watching a Boeing 777-200 that's an exact overlay of Malaysian Airlines Flight 370, which indicates that we are actually looking at Malaysian Airlines in the video. And we see it making a hard left turn. We see it descending in the videos. We can tell that we are looking at cumulus clouds. These cumulus clouds only form at low altitudes. We checked the weather pattern for that day, and within 15 minutes of when we think these videos happen, the weather actually had low altitude cumulus clouds in the Nicobar Islands as well. The plane is actually maxing out the capabilities of a 777-200 wall and descent, wall turning at roughly 150 to 250 miles per hour. This would be very difficult to fake. In fact, there was somebody who posted on social media claiming to be a VFX artist from the movie Top Gun Maverick that said that scaling down planes like this and getting it to be accurate to the capabilities of the plane is some of the hardest things to pull off. Now, what we see, both videos actually are in perfect synchronization. We have a satellite video looking from one angle, and then we have a drone video looking horizontally from a completely different angle, from the opposite side. And in the drone video, we can see these orbs begin to circle around the plane. In the satellite video, we see these orbs coming in at roughly 2,000 miles per hour, Mach 2, Mach 3 speeds we've estimated based on comparing pixels in them. And in both videos, these orbs are defying gravity as we know it. They're floating freely. They're not falling to the ground. But in the drone video, we see some very unusual details. We can see in the drone video that there's a black line. It looks like it's behind the orbs, but it's actually in front of the orbs, pulling them forward, like they're running on train tracks. So there seems to be two different anti-gravitational effects at play here. The orbs themselves are displaced from gravity. We can see what's called a non-radiating barrier, which means it's like a field around the orb. It actually looks like these are more of like ball lightning as opposed to something like a traditional flying saucer that we might expect in UFOlogy. They form a pattern around the plane that when we mapped it out, it actually is a spherical pattern, mapping the plane, rotating around in a perfect 120-degree sinusoidal pattern, which seems to have some sort of purpose, which after we see the zap becomes a lot more apparent. It's like it's mapping the plane to figure out the dimensions of it. The orbs have a heat signature in them. You can see there's very clear heat signature in the orbs, which is a very unusual detail to add. Engineer who works in low-energy nuclear reactions, Bob Grenier, has looked at this and said that this is consistent with the topological monopole. Topological monopole is the idea of having a single magnetic effect, either a north or south, but not having a dipole effect. And this is potentially what might be needed in order to achieve anti-gravity, along with stuff like room temperature superconductivity. In the drone video, some of the strongest evidence for why this video is real is that we see it manually tracking the plane. So they're not using automatic tracking. There's a little bit of a delay consistent with somebody very far away using that camera to follow the plane and try to track it. They zoom in. There's shake in the drone video, which is, as they zoom in, increases accurately, just like if you're using your camera to zoom in on something. There's a 3D dynamic parallax. So when they zoom in, you can actually see clouds. You can see the edges of the clouds more. So you can actually see that this is a full 3D rendered environment if it was fake. It can't be just a picture. We also see that line in front of the orbs is what we refer to as a geodesic. You can imagine it like the orbs are creating space in front of them to run down, like, as I mentioned, those train tracks, almost like a gravity well in front of them. We believe, after talking to Salvatore Pais, who has some patents out there that are advanced technology patents, that this could be produced by a laser effect using a some type of high frequency vibrational effect that can essentially break through the fabric of reality as we see it, to create this geodesic, kind of bending or opening up space in front of them. And then right before the zap, we see one of the strongest details is we see the orbs reorient. And actually, in both videos, we see a synchronized event. In the drone video, we see the orbs reorient where the heat signature kind of disappears for a second and then comes back. And then the orbs seem to be in a very specific position. At the same time, in the satellite video, you see the orbs spinning rotation slow down a little bit. And then all of a sudden, the orbs converge on the plane. And Bob Grenier has argued when they're converging on the plane, they're amplifying their energy. And talking to Salvatore Pais, he said that we can amplify energy to such a degree that we can break through the Schwinger limit. which is what we need to be able to do to break through the permittivity of free space itself, to break through what we would see as our reality to the underlying framework of the universe itself. And then we see this cold, dark event open up and encapsulate the plane. And within 3 frames, a fraction of a second, the plane goes from being there to not being there anymore. You can actually see the tail of the plane in 1 frame, the very first frame of the dark endothermic event opening up. You can still see it sticking out of the back. And it looks like the plane's been pulled backwards a little bit. Now, I talked to Dave Rossi, who is a DoD contractor and engineer himself, and he argued the idea that there might be a 4th orb, because you have to have some direction, some steering wheel for this mechanism, and that there might be an entanglement effect where 3 orbs have been entangled to a 4th orb. And you can stretch them out any 2 different locations. And then when we see our event go off, now all of a sudden the plane goes from being over here with the 3 orbs to being over here where the 4th orb is, as some sort of steering wheel or direction of travel. And it might be getting pulled backwards. And this is speculative, of course, but if it were being pulled backwards, since the plane was going to the east, it would be getting pulled backwards somewhere over to the west, which is where the Maldives are. So this is, I think, the best, in my mind. And one additional detail that I forgot to mention is there's a heat signature in the belly of the plane as well that morphs accurately, at least what I would expect from heat potentially pouring out of the plane. And it's in the location where the AC exhaust ports are, near the landing gear. And since we've speculated as a fire event, especially if the fire was in the forward cargo bays, the smoke would have been pouring through the air conditioning system in the airplane. And it would have been getting pumped out through those AC exhaust ports. And in this situation as well, we've got the fire event that we speculated. We've got that Mayday call. We've got the video showing hot smoke coming out of the back of this plane as well. And then we've got our witness on the ground, Catherine T., who saw dark smoke. So to me, I think that this is a huge amount of evidence that if these videos aren't real, why do they tell a story of the plane that's matched by more evidence than anybody else's story to date, any expert or what have you? The only thing that we've had to rule out for these videos to be real and this event to be the true event of the plane is these satellite pings after the location in the Nicobar Islands. And if you look at those Inmarsat satellite pings, I've looked at the raw data myself, it amounts to 10 rows on an Excel spreadsheet. And the weirdest part is that if you look at everything up until the Nicobar Islands, from when the plane took off, it's hundreds of rows of data. And you get to that part, and it's just 10 rows of data for 5 hours.
What does that mean? So just a lack of pinging back to the satellites and that, therefore not entering into the spreadsheets then?
Well, this is where it gets very bizarre, because I've interacted with pretty much all of the original experts, including several people in the independent group, Victor Ilanello, as well as Mike Exner, and they just keep telling me it's normal. But the story that they present makes no sense. They argue that the ACAR system was turned off at 1707 UTC, which is 13 minutes before the plane went dark. But then we have full data from 1707 all the way up to 1840 UTC. And then at 1840 UTC, which the next ping is 1941 UTC through 2313 UTC, again, about 5 hours, we just have 10 rows of data, and there's a pattern in that data. And they try to argue that something changed, but I can't figure out what that might be in terms of why there would be this difference here. In my mind, if the system was turned off at 1707, the discrepancies should begin at 1707. They shouldn't begin at 1840 UTC. We looked into the SATCOMs. All the SATCOM systems that exist out there all have 0-day vulnerabilities and exploits. They're all easily hackable. In fact, you probably only have to change one value in these systems in order to get people to believe that a plane went in a different direction than it actually did. For example, to convince people that it went south instead of going to the west. But the strongest evidence why those pings are not true is that we found nothing in the location where those pings supposedly say that the plane went into the South Indian Ocean. We didn't find one piece of debris down there. We found no black boxes. We had no acoustic detections, no radar detections, no witnesses, despite the fact that it's on an active shipping route. And we had 19 family members of the victims claim that they could call the cell phones of the victims for up to 4 days after they went missing. One of them even proved it on television. Phones are not, you cannot connect to a phone that is turned off, that's in the middle of the ocean away from cell towers, that is underwater, that is dead. And CNN had these experts come on and say that, oh no, this can happen, which I would believe if it was just 1 or 2. When you have 19 families saying that, something does not add up.
So they were able to call their family members' phones and they were ringing and they picked up voicemail or something like that?
The part about getting to the voicemail, I'm not sure about, but they rang. And if I were to turn my phone off and say, hey, Clayton, give me a call, it's not going to ring. It's going to go directly to the voicemail as opposed to ringing. I think the counter arguments have been that, oh, well, it could be an international call and could ring once or twice, which again, I could believe if it was just 1 or 2, but when you've got 19 families saying that, and they're saying it goes up to 4 days, they could do that, which is pretty consistent with how long maybe a phone would last if, the battery on it. That's where I become pretty skeptical in general. So, yeah.
Wow.
It's pretty wild if all of this is true. I mean, you saw the videos. Any other opinions? Says Volta BS. Rep says, I wonder if those were heat-seeking missiles. There's no proof that we could produce a portal. No, that video there, that's clearly not heat-seeking missiles. No way. I mean, they had their own heat for one. That would be probably a problem. And two, they never hit the damn plane. They just circle the plane. Heat-seeking missiles aren't supposed to just sit there and circle the plane in a globular pattern around the plane like those were. So no, that wasn't heat-seeking missiles. No way. Volta BS says portal looks like a close-up of my eyeball. Yep. Valiant Thor says there's a place that knows exactly what happened. Pine Gap Joint Defense Space Research Facility, Alice Springs, Australia, the Area 51 of Australia. Welcome to the chat, Valiant Thor. Volta BS says, so Johnson saved Bigfoot from a dying planet now. Time to start playing with my Tesla coil. Again, you know, I'm open to the possibility that something like a portal could be created technologically. But again, I haven't seen any real proof of that just yet being possible. Anyway, this video is pretty crazy. Now, earlier you saw where he was talking about the debunkers, and he showed a little clip where they were talking about doesn't match. I'm about to show you one of the people well, a channel where they debunked it. After we're done here, we'll go and where they're trying to debunk this, and it's pretty convincing. This may be completely debunked. Now, that being said, redacted, you know, Clayton and Natalie Morse is redacted, is who they are. You know, they're usually on top of their shit. So maybe they looked into some of the debunking and they're not convinced by the debunkers either. Valiant Thor says Pine Gap is run by the National Reconnaissance Office. NRO is the most powerful publicly known government agency. Rapper says, sounds like this guy is just speculating and doesn't know himself really. Well, how do you explain what you saw in the video, though? You know, we saw a plane. We saw the plane. We saw two videos, satellite and drone. By satellite and drone. Heat images, and we see the plane being circled by orbs, whatever they are. And then suddenly the plane just vanishes. It's gone. What happened?
So these videos, I want to just go back to these videos, which have caused so much controversy. When did these videos emerge? We have the satellite video, and then we have this drone video. Where did these come from? Yeah. And how were you able to how were we able to sync them up to know that it's perhaps the same object here, so we can use the exact same framing to know that this is the angle, this is the time signature, and we keep it consistent?
Yeah. And this is the story of, I guess, my emergence on the social media. I never expected to be anybody in this world or anybody special, and I still don't think that I am. But I remember seeing the drone video back in 2014 when I was first just curious about the plane, and I just dismissed it. I didn't know what I was even looking at. Just thought, oh, this is just some weird thing. And then back in August, these videos reemerged on the social media site Reddit, actually on the subreddit called UFOs. And I saw that video, and I just went, huh, okay, that's interesting. And I saw the second video, which was the satellite video. And then I went, wait a minute. I remember seeing that drone video. Now you're telling me there's a second video in perfect synchronization. So I started digging into them, and so did many people on social media, and found that, yes, these actually date back to 2014. I mean, I remember seeing them in 2014 as well, but we've got the Wayback Machine. We know that the original account uploader was somebody called Regicide Anon, which technically stands for King Killer, Anonymous King Killer. And that the satellite video, which is the first one, says received March 12th, 2014 in the description, which is 4 days after the plane went missing.
4 days. 4 days after.
And it was uploaded published May 19th, 2014, which is roughly 8 or 9 weeks after the plane disappeared. So we have a time frame of between 4 days and 72 days. Now, the interesting part is, remember those coordinates I just mentioned? Those coordinates are indicated by those Inmarsat pings as being potentially the real location of where the plane actually was in the Nicobar Islands. Now, the problem here is that the raw telemetry data was not made publicly available until May 28th, 2014 in a 47-page report. Before that, there was just a graph. Even Mike Exner of the Independent Group didn't know that the satellite information could even be real until June of 2014. So how did a supposed hoaxer know exactly where to put the plane with the real locations of the plane and the coordinates over a week before the raw telemetry data was even made publicly available? For people that
that's on the screen, and they can see that on the screen.
Yes, in the bottom left of the satellite video, you can see it in the high definition version. So we also even went ahead and we looked at all the satellites. We actually found there's a low Earth orbit satellite pair, USA 229, a naval ocean surveillance satellite pair that was in the right location in the Straits of Malacca that could have been staring right down at this location around 1840 UTC. And this could have been in the constellation of the Sirius system. In fact, the regicide anon version is a stereoscopic version. It's two different videos two different videos side by side, slightly different angles. Now, debunkers have argued that YouTube had a capability to turn videos into 3D like that, which maybe they did. But if this is actually the original version and how this was leaked out to the public, then those two satellites right next to each other, staring down, would have been the ones that are sending the data to the Sirius system to be able to build this capability that we see to track the plane in general. The second video, the MQ-1C Gray Eagle video, was it says received June 5th, 2014 in the description, uploaded June 12th, 2014. So right away you can start to realize that, okay, this first video came out, and then a couple weeks later, the next video gets published. So now you're starting to build this narrative of, okay, wait a minute, like how did these videos come out? Who potentially could have leaked them? What were they trying to accomplish in leaking them? And if you think that these videos are fake, then the prime suspect should be Regicide Anon themselves. Because if Regicide Anon was not the faker of these videos, why would they put this received March 12th, 2014 in the description of the satellite video? Because 4 days is not enough to come up with a whole plan. 4 days after this plane went missing, we were still looking in the South China Sea. So there's no way the 4 days after is pretty much, a nail in the coffin. These would have to be real. And the problem is that if somebody did fake these, in my mind, it can only be some type of state-sponsored event. It requires far too much intricate detail stuff that was not publicly available, like the heat signatures and the orbs and the monopole stuff was not even publicly available to an Alto University paper after this plane went missing. Far too many details in this for this to be just some kind of rogue person that created them.
So a couple of questions come to mind here. Why create a fire event if you have this incredible technology with an orb technology that can create spherical wraparound of the craft in order to make it disappear? Why the diversion? Was that part of the cover-up, or
that's something that I've been trying to figure out as well? And I think that there was a weird letter, probably the weirdest thing that's ever happened in my whole life, that appeared on YouTube. It's called Diego Garcia Whistleblower, a letter to Ashton Forbes. It showed up on an account on YouTube that was created June 7th, 2024. And the video that I just mentioned was uploaded June 10th, 2024. Somebody pinged me on this roughly the next day and said, have you seen this? And I read
What year is it?
2024 still. So this just happened.
June?
Or sorry, January. Sorry, January. I apologize.
January, okay.
Yeah, so this just happened a couple months ago.
Maybe I'm talking to you from the future, and now my mind is being blown on so many levels. I don't know. Okay, so January of 2024, a YouTube video shows up on a channel addressed to you, like an open letter to you.
Open letter, 11 minutes long. And up until that point, I presented this idea that the United States government was saving this plane from an emergency fire event. Because with this plane, if it tried to land in the ocean where Catherine T saw it, it's going to rip apart in the ocean. Everybody's going to die. It's 2 a.m. It's pitch black out. This is not going to be a Sully Sullenberger situation. Landing in the ocean is not like landing in the Hudson River. And there were some aspects of it that still bothered me. The idea of those fake Iranian passengers, the idea that, would we actually save a plane in this scenario? Would we deploy that technology? Like maybe if there's a VIP on board. But we knew that the Freescale semiconductor scientists were the motive for this. And that letter actually kind of opened my mind a little bit more to the espionage events, which is, it argues that this is a show of force. This is a message to the Chinese government. And in fact, Joseph P. Farrell found a video interview that he did on March 20th, I want to say, 2014, where he actually argued the same thing. He had deduced that this could be a message from either non-human intelligence or from just another government that was out there. Now, the reason why he had ruled out the United States there was that he didn't see what the motive could be related to those Freescale semiconductor employees. I think that if he were to go back, he would realize that that's it. But the letter essentially argues that this was a show of force, that we were set to fire to show them that their plans were burning up, literally and metaphorically, that we knew that they were defecting months in advance and hatched this counter plan, and that we phased the plane out. We wanted China to see it, going back to those satellite images that they posted, so that they knew who's your daddy, and that they knew that their plan would fall apart. And you might argue, well, why would China hide this? Why wouldn't China say something? I think there's two answers to that. One, nobody would believe them. You go ahead and say the United States orbed the plane, somewhere else and stole it. No one's going to believe
using some advanced UFO technology or something like that.
Yeah. This is the highest levels. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, I mean, these are technologies that are kept very close to the vest. And we know that different countries have access to these through other downcraft, through reverse engineering programs of these downcraft. So it's not something that you put on the, put on the nightly news.
Yeah, this is the type of covert kind of wrangling back and forth between nation states that you don't put out there in the public. And so I think that they can't say anything. And then the second side of it is what's going to happen. The United States has the strongest propaganda apparatus in the entire world. If you listen to the Tucker Carlson, Vladimir Putin interview, I thought there was a very revealing aspect to that, where Tucker Carlson asks Putin, why would you not tell the world about the Nord Stream pipeline, that the United States had destroyed it or their allies had destroyed it? And he says, well, it's not a cost benefit, or it's not a cost, it's cost ineffective in order to be able to try to go to a propaganda war with the United States, who controls all the world's Western media. I mean, just think about it from the perspective of they got the whole world to essentially believe in this pilot suicide myth. If the China were to come out and say, hey, United States did this, United States is going to push back, and they're going to say, no, this is misinformation, disinformation. It was China.
Volta BS says, so who owned the satellite? Did he say? I don't know if he said. Right, Thor says, everything is known, everything is seen. When a brilliant mind has a thought, intention, and idea within their brain with magical insights that is world-changing, the black budget world already knows we have technology at that level of spyware. Let that sink in. Have a blessed day. So you just wanted to come in and declare some random crazy stuff and bow out. Copy that. Raptor says, how do you know that the airlines aren't putting self-destruct devices in the planes to keep them from getting hijacked? I don't know that. I don't know that. Yeah, personally, I think it would be very easy to prevent hijackings from ever affecting the plane. You simply make it to where there is no access to the cockpit of a plane. And that's just the way planes are. No access to the cockpit from inside the rest of the plane. And hijackers, there's no matter what they do, they can get in the plane, they can be in there with the passengers. No matter what they do, they can't get control of the plane. There's no access. You'd have to literally climb out the door in the side of the plane, crawl up to where the cockpit is, and try to access the door into the cockpit. That simple little design feature would end the whole damn thing. And another thing would be that, if you do have a hijacking situation, just gas the whole passenger cabin. Sleeping gas. Put everybody to sleep. Just put everybody to sleep. Now, the only way these hijackers would ever be able to bypass that is to somehow sneak a gas mask into the plane. That's gonna be kind of hard. It's gonna be kind of hard. And even if they do, they're not going to be able to crash the plane. They're not going to be able to threaten anything because the pilots, would never be allowed to do anything based on what's going on in the cabin. They can't. They have to, if they get hijacked, what's their order should be. You fly directly to the nearest military base or someplace where there's going to be a lot of authorities, or just any airport basically would probably do. Just have the authorities meet you there in large force. The hijackers why there's no reason even in 2001, there's no reason why hijackers should have been able to take over a plane and crash into the building. There's just none. The only way that happened is because it was allowed to happen. So Valiant Thor let that sink in, right? I mean, it's a really simple thing here. It's a really simple thing. How in the hell do we have a situation where someone can actually take over a plane and crash into the building? It's because the government wants it that way, so that they can stage something like 9/11. And yes, our government did it. Yes, they planned it. Rich, powerful people were behind it. That wasn't just a bunch of Yahoo terrorists. They were the patsies. Anybody who can't see that, I don't know what else to do. Smack you upside the head, shake something loose. I don't know. If you can't see that 9/11 was an inside job, it like I said, it'd be very easy. Like, because hijackings had happened in the past. It's a really simple thing. No access to the cockpit from the rest of the plane. None. The only way into the cockpit is an external door. There's an external door to the passenger cabin. Pilots, you don't need freaking in-flight meals. Pack a lunch. Bring your freaking sack lunch, guys. You're at work. You're not on a luxury liner. Just freaking seriously. It's so easy. It's so freaking easy. Hijacking a plane should not be possible. And yet, they leave it as a possibility. No. The flight attendants do not have access to the cockpit, period. You have the pilots are in there. They got a restroom, a little mini fridge with their food in it. And do they even really need that? Bring some, what I got some, bring some beef jerky. That's all you need. You don't need refrigeration for that. Beef jerky and water, guys. Seriously. Just it's really freaking easy. Changing made up could have been changed, made up. Date could have been changed or made up, says both BS. Possibility. Jen says, okay, I missed some stuff. Is he basing his point on a YouTube video? I think these videos were these. These videos came out back in 2014, and I think they were on. There was a Reddit user involved. He mentioned, but yeah, there was like a YouTube video, a YouTube channel, and the YouTube channel disappeared or something. You agree there? Email videos. Raptor says, Jen, I don't know if this is an actual YouTube video or if this is a recreation. I'm kind of on the fence about all this. Well, one of the points he was saying is there was information in the videos that couldn't have been known by anybody at the time that at least one of the videos at the time that the video was released. So that adds to the credibility of the video. Carl Galtro, guys know this tech. Carl Galtro, the freaking Louisiana swamp ape with his probably fake ass thermal image of a when she's supposed to be a pregnant Bigfoot. Jen says, didn't they find parts of the Malaysia plane a few years ago? He talks a little bit about that, how there's questions around that. Some of it, anyway. Debris was found in January 2017. If this is the same plane. Raptor says that, Jen, I don't know. Most of the time when the news is on, I'm at work.
That did it or something like that. So I think that explains why they would hide it. And it is a big risk for them to have filmed this on two different surveillance apparatus, because what happens if the videos get out? What happens if one person looks at those videos and goes, wow, no one's going to ever know the truth unless I leak these videos? And that's exactly what I think happened. When we are looking at that satellite video, we can tell that they are doing a screen recording. It's not somebody who's got a camera who's filming the screen like I would be doing here. That's one of the earliest details that I noticed. And so when the sleuths on social media found out that this was a Citrix session logged into a database because of the mouse is at 24 frames per second that we see in the satellite video, and it comes off the top right of the screen and goes off to the bottom left of the screen, indicating they're looking at a much larger field of view, but they're cropped it down. We're moving the drone so that we wouldn't see that. We're moving other information from it. That's when I went, holy crap. This was a U.S. military personnel who was recording this on a screen recording. They knew they were going to get caught. They have logs for Citrix sessions logging into databases like this. And they leaked this to the world, potentially because they knew the United States would never find it. And I was sitting there one day in October, and I was going, wait a minute, I've got like a psychological profile for the person who would have leaked this. It would have to be a U.S. military personnel. They would be a patriot, most likely, that wants to tell the world. They removed the HUD data and all this other sensitive information. They leaked the first video, thinking that maybe the world will pick up on that first video, and they don't even need to leak the second one. And then when we ignore that, they drop the second videos in perfect synchronization. Now you've got absolute proof. We've got coordinates. We've got two different videos. So I started Googling, looking up people. It took me about 2 weeks because it's really hard to find some of this information that goes back, especially 7 or 8 years or more. And then I run across Lieutenant Commander Edward C. Lynn. I am 99.999% sure this is the guy right away. Every single thing. I've got my spider senses just going off. Signals intelligence all over every single news article about him. The strange case of Lieutenant Commander Edward C. Lynn, completely redacted information, charged with espionage, but there's no evidence he exchanged any information with anyone from China. And that was unusual to me because if you think about the person that would have leaked this, the United States government would have assumed that they're trying to help China out, especially if it's an espionage event. But then if they find out that there's no evidence of that because it was just somebody who was trying to tell the world the truth, now it gets really awkward. He was actually a Taiwanese national who had been naturalized into the United States, a guy that we trusted with our military or nuclear weapons. So this was a guy that by all accounts was a patriot. But the circumstantial evidence is extremely limited. He was assigned to the VPU-2 Wizards, a secret spy plane program, in February of 2014, right before the plane disappeared. His lawyer is on the record saying that the investigation into him began April 2nd, 2014, the next month after the plane disappeared. And that's when I went, oh boy, like this is a very narrow window of time. But there's more. It was actually the defense lawyer argued that the classified information in question is available on the internet, which if it's not these videos, why were they trying to get him in life in prison for espionage? And later on, ended up forcing him to a plea deal. And in the plea deal, just for disseminating classified information, he got a 9-year sentence, which is, huge compared to what other people for similar offenses have gotten. Most people with that kind of offense, they get like a slap on the wrist or like a year. They actually had to have people testify as to what he did, why it was so damaging. He was also caught with flight manifests that include search and rescue code names, which to me, this evidence piled together says this must be the guy. So I FOIA'd the FBI and NCIS. FBI wouldn't give me anything. They said it's privacy related. NCIS rejected my FOIA in total. I had the head of legal for FOIA respond back and sign the document saying it's to be kept secret in the interest of national defense or foreign policy. Now, to me, I think what we're looking at here is Lockheed Martin technology. I think that we figured out anti-gravity. I don't know if we reverse engineered it or we dug something up and figured it out, or if we figured this out going all the way back to the Manhattan Project and the Philadelphia experiment. But I think we've got this technology. I think that's our technology. And I think that Edward C. Lynn might not even have known. I think that he might have thought it was UFOs and thought, oh, I'm not hurting anybody by leaking this information.
So, yeah, there's a lot more. I don't know if we're going to watch the rest of the redacted portion of this. All this stuff taken together, it looks really, really... It looks really, really suspicious. Raptor says 9/11 and this plane crashing are two different events. Of course they are. But what I'm saying is You know, I was when I brought 9/11 because what you said earlier. About self-destruct devices in the plane and stuff like that keep them from getting hijacked. I don't think you need a self-destruct device. I think I explained what I think you need to do, and the fact that they don't do it tells me that they wanted planes to get hijacked like 9/11. That's why I brought up 9/11. I don't know why you're saying this comment as if there's some kind of confusion between the two, but what there is here there is one thing about these two things that go along. The government of the United States did both of them. Okay, they did 9/11, and they did this MH370 plane disappearance. Now we can debate about how exactly they disappeared MH370, but but these videos sure do seem to answer, well, to some extent. Maybe we don't understand the technology involved, but if these videos are legit, they surrounded the plane with orbs and sucked the damn thing into a portal. As crazy as that sounds. However, you may come away from this tonight not believing that that's what happened. You may believe that these videos are completely fake CGI stuff. Seems convenient. A satellite just happens to be on target. Yeah, but there's satellites above. I mean, there's satellites all over the place up there. So, but also, if this was a government operation, they're probably going to want to have an eye in the sky on the operation as it's taking place. So, I'm not too surprised that there's video. Lock, you're good, says Raptor. Are you sure? Are you sure? Okay, so there's this channel called the Corridor Crew, and a lot of times they'll look at all kinds of video that needs to be scrutinized, and they'll tell you if they think it's fake or not. Let me share the tab here. Okay. Voltavia says it wouldn't see the light of day on YouTube if it was real. Well, I mean, it was already out. It's been out for years. And what this guy's saying is that it was a military guy who got the videos out because he wanted to expose that this thing happened, and that's why he got in so much trouble. But it's all hush hush about why he's in trouble, why he went to jail for all those years for supposed espionage. And so it was just already out. And like you said, like they said that the classified information is available on the internet, so it is already out. For whatever his reasons were, he thought he needed to expose this, and he did, and he's paid a heavy price for it. Yeah. So okay, so these guys, they actually analyze in this particular episode. of their show. They analyze the Bigfoot train thing. You remember that? And then also in the first part of this episode, and the what is it? The alien, the Slim Jim, or whatever they called that one. And there's another thing in here. I can't remember what it was. But this portion, they are talking about these two videos.
Do you have damning evidence as well?
Hold on a second.
Shortly after, 2 videos hit the internet. Recently, these video clips have been making a resurgence, people talking about them again, people claiming they have undeniable proof that they're real. Let's start by watching the clips.
No. Okay, that's a white thing.
I'm going to have to break it up because I don't know if I'm going to get hit on this one. Volta BS says, just like the Kandahar Giant, everyone has talked to someone involved, but nothing from the players in it. Yeah, I don't know about the Kandahar Giants. Seems like it's probably that one's probably bullshit. Probably. But who knows? Who knows? And maybe, you know, if there was a real event with the Kandahar Giant, you know, it's probably been exaggerated all the shit. You know how stories grow, fish stories grow. You know, you go to the lake, you go fishing, you catch and release or something, and then you get home and you start telling about this fish, and the fish was this long, but suddenly it's this long in your story. Sometimes people perceive things they seem bigger than what they are. You know, like my buddy, he's this huge fella. He 450 pounds of corn fed, and he seems like a giant compared to me, compared to anyone really. He seems like a giant. He's huge, big old head on him, and he's quite a bit taller than me. But he's only a foot taller. He's less than a foot taller than me, but he's big. If a tribe full of dudes like him walked up to a tribe full of dudes like me, we would be telling stories for the next 10,000 years about this big race of giants that came down and fucked us up. You know. You know, he's less than a foot taller than me though. But he's he's huge, massive. You know, he's only 5'8". He's only 5'8", but I'm sorry, 6'8", 6'8". You know, you walk up to someone that big and is that much more massive than you, and they're a giant. So maybe the Kandahar Giant was, you know, 6'10", and he's probably leaner than my buddy. He might not weigh 450 pounds, but he might be a good solid 300 lean, mean beast, you know. That's going to seem like a giant. Skinny Bob the Alien, do that one. We might look at that. I'm going to try. I don't know if I'm going to get hit for this one, though. Used to be like that. They used to be like that, says Volta BS. Like what? I don't know.
The whole frame gets brighter.
You see how they do some sound effects when the plane disappears, so it's kind of funny.
So one of our base requirements is multiple witnesses, multiple camera angles. This one comes with a second clip.
It's just like, what is this plane doing? They're taking like evasive maneuvers. Who's filming this? Like, what's going on? Like, it's also, why is it so shaky? Because it's like should be on a nice smooth gimbal.
So there you have it.
It's a weird one.
It is a weird one.
Wouldn't that be?
Used to be a giant. Donald used to be a giant.
Cool if that was real. Well, actually, no, that'd be terrible because you know,
Oh yeah.
there's a lot of people on that plane. Although I guess they're not dying; they're going to a new dimension.
Yeah, they might be living it up.
The YouTube channel, since this was uploaded, does not exist. No original footage, just YouTube videos.
It's not good.
When your original footage is a YouTube video, yeah, that's a step. Guys, is this real or is this VFX?
I'm getting VFXy vibes right now.
The first angle is something you could do very simply. The second one is way weirder.
So people have said that because these came out so quickly after the airline disappeared, it'd be impossible to do these visual effects. How fast can you guys do these shots?
Real fast.
Yeah.
As little as an hour. as long as 4 to 5.
Keep in mind, these guys don't address any of the other facts surrounding the situation. Really, they just look at the video and give their opinion whether or not they think it's fake or not. So, you know, I don't think these guys, you know, don't give them too much weight, I guess.
You know, you could do this in 4 to 5 hours.
Okay. After analyzing this footage, it became clear to me that this is visual effects. The thing that stands out most to me is we go back to that first clip. Let's look at the background. Are we a satellite? Assume we're a satellite. Do you know something weird about the background?
Oh, that the clouds are not evolving in any way, shape, or form.
Nothing's evolving.
It's a still frame.
It's a still frame. Thank you, Ren. Hey guys, how fast do satellites go?
Now, the guy on Redacted said that the clouds were moving, but this is just a very short piece of video, and you're not seeing the clouds move because it's such a small amount. But again, he could be wrong.
Yeah, 17,000 miles an hour.
Yeah. Would you jump to footage of the International Space Station?
Oh, damn!
Look, the fact.
Stop. That's not the clouds moving. That's the actual International Space Station moving. Let's be real.
The matter is, that's satellite footage.
I mean, the clouds are moving, but they're not hauling ass like that across the screen. The view of the camera of the International Space Station. The International Space Station is hauling ass over the clouds. So this is all the movement that you can discern here is International Space Station. You're not actually discerning the cloud movement from this piece of. So what right here, there's some little bit of disingenuous shit going on.
The satellite needs to be moving. It can't be static. There would be parallax between the clouds and the ground. That's a big one. But you know what? That doesn't rule out the thermal shot, right? Let's look at the thermal shot. Thermal cameras, like they don't have grain. It's not underexposed footage. And if there's any sort of noise pattern, notice it's a fixed noise pattern. Yeah. It's the idea of like your image is under almost like a dirty lens.
How do you make it look like it's thermal? Well, there's a filter in After Effects called Colorama. What Colorama does is it goes, all right, let's take black to white, and instead of do black to white, we're going to fill it in with different colors along the way, a rainbow, a spectrum. And then, you know, that looks like thermal footage, it's just not accurate. However, in this case, we see the engines are hot, so maybe you go in, touch up the engines, give them a little, track some like heat points on there. One weird thing I'm noticing with the thermals is on that shockwave in the second clip, like how cold is that shockwave?
Wait, because
like is that like a 0? So I'm confused why it's so dark when like we clearly see the engines are like hot points. We're getting the yellows, the reds.
Because
again, so this guy, they're saying that you could have done this, you could have faked this, but they're not proving anything. They're just sitting on a couch just saying, well, this could be done. So are they doing anything to actually prove that this was faked other than just watching it on the screen?
Because if it's a super dark hole, why is it so bright there? And then in the other one, it's like a pitch black abyss.
What you're seeing something here that defies the known laws of physics, right? You're seeing a plane sucked into a freaking portal, and so you're assuming you're looking at something that you don't understand at all. And you're assigning like traits to it based on shit that in a real, in the world that I mean, you don't know what this is, so you don't know that it can't be extremely bright but also extremely cold. You don't know that. We already know that different types of light can have different degrees of how much it can warm you, right? A fluorescent light doesn't generate as much heat as an incandescent light, yet they can both light a room equally as well.
This.
The crazy thing about thermals is they see through mist and smoke and all that kind of stuff. If we look at this clip from Veritasium, we can't see them because photons can't pierce the fog. But that deep infrared, that long wavelength of red goes right through it. The fog is invisible to infrared. So those plane contrails shouldn't even be showing up on thermal.
The underlying footage is CGI. It's a 3D render.
On top of a still frame of clouds.
On top of a still frame of clouds, and the reason it is the particle effect, the trail from the plane. Those are sprites overlaid on top of each other, giving us this additive stack opacity, which creates that buildup in the highlight that we see there. If we were to do a volumetric smoke simulation of a similar trail like that, you would see that overlaid on top of each other, giving us this additive stack.
Okay. Here's my question to him. If you shouldn't be seeing the trails from the plane, does that not also follow that you should not be seeing the clouds? Because I could see the damn clouds. So I'm seeing a little bit of a hole in this bullshit that these guys are spinning already. I see clouds. If you can't see the exhaust off the plane, shouldn't you also not be able to see the damn clouds? So I'm starting to not trust these guys.
Opacity, which creates that buildup in the highlight that we see there. If we were to do a volumetric smoke simulation, similar trail like see, that doesn't overlap and it has more consistent values across the whole arc, not just where it's, occluding itself. It's a CGI render.
Setting this up in 3D is almost trivially simple. You lay a path, set an object to follow the path. You get a little triple helix for the other objects that come in, put a particle emitter for the contrails.
I'd be curious to see when this came out versus when the sprite trail tutorial on Video Copilot came out. I think it was roughly around this time.
But the biggest nail in the coffin, which if I would have led with this, would have made this whole discussion.
Oh, no,
it's not really as fun.
Do you have damning evidence as well?
I have damning testimony.
What? If you tell me that this is the shockwave.
Do we have the shockwave on our server?
We do now, actually.
Wait, what?
I found the stock footage.
You did? You got it!
Yeah, rather, we did.
All right. Let me catch up in the chat real quick.
It's debunking time. The bunking bros are back.
As debunking experts, we've looked to the skies above. We've looked at cryptids on the ground, but we haven't looked in the deep forests where another mysterious paranormal creature lives, going by the name.
Why in the hell am I having so many problems with this stupid thing? All right, I'm back to the right video.
When the sprite trail tutorial on Video Copilot came out. If you tell me that this is the shockwave.
Evidence as well.
I have damning testimony.
What? If you tell me that this is the shockwave.
Do we have the shockwave on our server?
We do now, actually.
Wait, what?
I found the stock footage.
You did? You got it!
Yeah, rather, we didn't. Some people on Reddit did. This is a stock footage clip from the 90s.
Oh, hell yeah.
There's the clip from the video, and here is the stock footage.
It's perfect!
It's perfect!
Cinderella, baby.
Cinderella.
That's it.
Slipped right on.
Wow. An ISA, dude, an identified stock asset.
Some people have said,
Wow. An ISA, dude, an identified.
Now, here is where shit gets real. Where they might have actually proven, because that matches up way too well. Now, you saw in the redacted interview where the guy said he's disputed the claims, and like he had an arrow pointing to that dark spot right there, saying that that was the only matching spot. But look at the rest of this. It's close enough. Oh, for fuck's sake. It's close enough with some alterations. I could see how this would be the same as the CGI version. And this is too close. This is too close. Has to be fake. Has to be fake. So we then shut that sucker down. DZN says, I wonder what Lloyd Pye would think now, knowing cryptids are alien hybrids too. Was it the 22nd human gene he said was spliced Again, I've addressed this on here before. If it can be hybridized with us, it is not alien. It is not alien. You cannot crossbreed with an alien no matter what technology you throw at it. You cannot be crossbred with an alien. This is one of the most ridiculous, craziest, stupid, scientifically illiterate crap ideas that people who lie or are extremely mistaken tell in their ridiculous alien stories, right? You know that they're lying or they don't know what the hell is going on when they say something as ridiculously stupid as there was some kind of alien hybridization shit going on. It's a ridiculously stupid thing to dream up or say or even suggest. Why? Go fuck an octopus and you'll find out why. You can never crossbreed with an octopus. The physiology of an octopus, no matter how much technology we throw at it, is so different from ours that it would be extremely technologically difficult to make any kind of creature out of the two that would be functional and would be living, right? It would not survive. You could jumble around some genes and stuff, but it would take a lot of technology. And then even then it's you know, it don't make any damn sense half the time. You got to be careful what you're jacking around with. So to hybridize two animals where you're half your DNA comes from human and half of the DNA comes from this thing and half of the DNA comes from another thing is not going to work almost not 100% of the time. Now we do we'll take individual genes and put them into a different organism. We could do that to some extent but it's not a huge chunk of the genome. You start talking about huge chunks of the genome, and then you start talking about basic physiological functions that are antagonistic to each other, and they will not work together, and could be downright toxic to each other and lethal to the organism. It's not going to survive beyond, a fetal stage or even a single cell stage, really. So, yeah, people who say, alien hybrids, no, those people are liars. Or they don't know what they saw. They don't know what they witnessed. They don't understand what they saw. Because I assure you, there are 0 aliens hybridized with humans. That's ridiculously stupid nonsense. Don't believe that stuff. These are if there's an alien, it comes from another planet. Its physiology is so different from ours. Beyond the differences that you see between us and that octopus, right? The octopus is really different. No. Those grays that people claim to see, those look exactly like a type of human, right? There's a reason why. Either one, people don't have very much. People who are making up bullshit alien stories don't have a lot of imagination. So they make up an alien that looks basically like a human, a Chihuahua version. Look at a Chihuahua and look at a beagle, and that's about as much difference as you have between those gray aliens and one of us based on the descriptions, right? It's not much difference. Chihuahuas and beagles are the same damn animal. They're just different breeds, different races, and they crossbreed just fine because they are both dogs. And so if those gray aliens are real, they're probably human. They're probably human. A type of human that we don't see normally. They stay out of sight. Maybe their technology allows them to stay out of sight very, very well. But if that's what they look like, that's not an alien, man. That thing's from here. They're here. They've been here all along. They are not aliens. And if they are crossbreeding, if they're breeding with us, then that proves also that they're human, that they are from here, not somewhere else. And before someone says, well, that proves that we're from somewhere else. No, we're not from somewhere else. We're very clearly related to chimpanzees. All the DNA lines up just perfectly fine. And to every other creature on the planet. We're from here. We're not from somewhere else before someone says that stupid shit. Because someone will, I'm sure. The angle it's at, it's in the atmosphere. What? Raptor says, I still think this video is all bullcrap because when this plane went down, they had no visuals or anything. It just disappeared and it never showed up where it had to go. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm just showing you right here. If what we're seeing here is true, these guys have just proven that that visual effect is fake, that the plane did not get sucked into a portal. Sorry for the clickbait. DZN says the flat earth theory is from the Quran. That's why it became popular with communists and only attacked NASA. You can go up any sufficiently high mountains with a kid's protractor and measure the curve. No, man, I don't want to get into flat earthers right now, though. Those crazy fucks. Team Boys here says, damn, missed the notification. What's going on, people? What's up, Timmy boy? Everybody get your highs and hellos in. DZN says, how do grays eat? They have very small mouths and no teeth. I did hear they were atropic. They could drink blood through a tube, I guess. I also heard Bigfoot has chlorophyll in its DNA. Oh boy, there's so much shit to unpack there. One, let me get some light on the situation here. One, how do grays eat? They have small mouths and no teeth. Did a dentist examine the mouth of a gray? You know, again, you don't know. The people that say they have no teeth could be liars. You don't know. Or maybe they just couldn't see their teeth. I don't know. But it could all be bullshit, right? Drink blood, tube. You know, you never know. Having a small mouth doesn't mean that they can't eat. You know, they don't have some way to eat. It's just, but again, we don't know for sure that they're even real because all these people could be mistaken and lying. Some of them for attention, some of them for, you know, government trying to spin some bullshit story to cover things up. Who knows? Bigfoot, chlorophyll in its DNA. That doesn't even make any goddamn sense. You don't look, chlorophyll is a molecule that's DNA is this molecule right here, and chlorophyll is this other completely different type of molecule right here. You can't have chlorophyll in the DNA. It's so ridiculous. Whoever made up that chlorophyll in its DNA bullshit is just completely scientifically ignorant person who is lying out their ass. I'm not even gonna give them the they misunderstood something. Whoever made that shit up is a fucking liar. They just are. They made up some shit. They thought it sounded cool, and it was no. It doesn't sound cool. It sounds like you don't understand some really basic shit. You know that you should know before you start talking about it, right? I don't expect you to know physiology, but in genetics and all that stuff. But if you're going to talk about it, know what the fuck you're talking about. Damn dirt bikes, yeah. Fakery, plus they found the plane debris, but it's interesting to listen to, I guess. Yeah, it looks like there's some fakery going on here. Volta says Gary was pushing his story on Steve's chat last night at a higher level. Kind of miss him here. Yeah, he's so full of shit. Mr. Lee needs to stop encouraging him. Angel says, Mr. Bolt of BS. He doesn't give up. I will give him that. Yeah, he wants desperately to be recognized. Look, Gary, I'm sorry, dude, but you're obviously you want to be recognized as someone who is special somehow in the world above everyone else. Like that guy I was telling you about earlier. He hangs out around here. He walked right by. I mean, no reason to walk that close to my van with my open door here, but he was. Why? Probably looking to try and steal something. I don't know. Fucking stay away from my van, motherfucker. But anyways, telling me some bullshit about how he was sent to Earth by God to perform some bullshit function. I don't know. Anyway, dude's fucking nuts, or he's a goddamn lying sack of shit. Either way, he needs to stay the fuck away from my van. I have a feeling I'm going to have to get really mean with this guy at some point if he doesn't stop with his bullshit. Keeps coming, trying to talk to me and stuff. He was trying to ask me to buy him food the other day, and I'm like, he's going through McDonald's. Like, dude, no, something's not right here. Gary believes in his experience. Yeah, Gary's hallucinating. You're right, doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. I won't believe it. Human-made religion and Bigfoot don't work with me. He says, well, to be a Saber says, you have to respect Gary. After all the shit people gives him, he's still saying the same stuff. Yeah, but I think he's mentally ill to some extent, perhaps. Did we find Bigfoot yet? No. Welcome, Icon. Working out some more. Working on some orb, but we found some orb butter. And normally I trust redacted news, but I think perhaps they need to take a little closer look at like this here. If this is correct, that video is fake. There's no way there's that much matchup between the portal that the plane got sucked into in the video and this VFX feature right here. Tim Boy, because for him it's real. Yeah, and this crazy world in his brain, perhaps. Mr. Pup starting to believe him. Why you got Bigfoot working on your channel? Donald says Icon. DZN says, I use alien as a generic term. The aliens could be a pre-civilization or a future civilization or an extra dimensional civilization. Alien is more probable. Nope, and no. The only thing you were possibly, the only one of those that's possibly the answer, if those grays are real, what they are is some offshoot of humanity. Definitely, that's the case. And they could be from, when you say pre-civilization, well, they're here today and they have a civilization today if they are real. But they would come from that, they would probably be a leftover splinter group from that ancient civilization that built all the megalithic structures around the world and existed up until the Younger Dryas disaster wiped out most of our prey on the planet and caused a 400-foot rise in sea level worldwide, destroying cities worldwide and all that, and destroying their civilization on Earth. So that's the only thing. So they're not alien. Like, we really need to, because if you say aliens, a lot of people out there take that literally and they think aliens. You gotta be certain to never use the word aliens to describe what you're talking about. We're talking about another race of humans that stays kind of out of sight and so on and so forth. And the grays, if grays are real, they're not aliens. They're not a future civilization because, as we talked about before, this whole concept of being able to travel back in time is complete bullshit. Anyone that thinks that or tells any kind of ridiculous story that involves somebody traveling back into the past is full of shit. They're completely full of shit. That's not possible. That's not how the universe works. You cannot travel back in time. It's a ridiculously stupid concept that I will not let it go here. I will not let people proliferate that stuff. It's bullshit. It's complete bullshit. It can't happen. It breaks the universe, right? I'm not saying that if you did it, it would break the universe. I'm saying that it's not possible to do it. It's not possible to do it. If you're falling off a building, you can't like just say, oh, I'm going to go back up. I'm going to fly back up to the top. No, you can't, because you're going down. The forces at play are pulling you down, and you will continue to go down forever or till something stops you and you die. But time flows one way, period. That's it. You can play a little bit with the rate of flow, but you cannot reverse the flow. So future civilization, out. Extra dimensional civilization, out. There's just we're not talking about one-dimensional, two-dimensional, three-dimensional, four-dimensional, fourth dimension being time. We're not talking about that. We're talking about this whole idea that there's these multiple dimensions across the universe, that there's multiple Earths, all this nonsense. That's all bullshit. There is one universe. There's aspects of it that go unseen. You can't see. You can't perceive certain types of. Your eyes only see within a narrow range of frequencies. Your ears only hear certain things. Your sense of touch only touches certain things. Like this object, right? I can touch this. This object is the same thing. It's the same thing as light. If you can wrap your mind around that, it's just extremely high energy to the point where it's actually solid at this point. It becomes a solid physical thing. But it's all the same. It's all the same. It's just what difference is. The only thing that differentiates one thing from another is frequency and vibration, energy level. And that determines why one thing is perceived by us as something different from another, why we can interact with some things. Like that light there, I can touch it and it feels solid, right? But I can't touch the light. The sun can shine, I can't touch it, I can't feel it with the sense of touch, but I can see it and I can feel it to some degree on my skin, as far as in the sense from heat. So different frequencies, different types of energy we can interact with depending on what kind of tools we got as the kind of creature we are. I can't see heat, but that rattlesnake over there has the tools to do that, so they can see it. It's still there. It's part of the universe. It's not, if he sees the heat, I can go feel the heat. If I can go touch the source of heat, it's part of this universe. All these things are part of this universe, and there's frequencies that go on and on and on and on, and for possibly forever. And we just don't have the tools to see beyond our narrow range, right? We don't have the tools to touch or feel or see or hear. So keep that in mind. So there's not this extra dimensional set stuff. There might be things that live in the frequencies beyond our normal perceptions. And some people might say, well, that's the extra dimensions. No, don't even play. There's no other dimensions. And aliens more probable? No, total bullshit. Absolutely not probable. Not saying there couldn't be some here, but those grays are definitely not alien. No way. Icon says hi, Jen. Proofs here, Icon. Says what the BS2 boy. What happens if he winds up being right? I don't know. But I'd listened to him on Joe's show a couple of times. He believes in what he says. And hey, we weren't there. Nah, some of the stuff he says is so ridiculous. You talk about Gary. some of the stuff he says is so absolutely completely ridiculous that I'm not gonna. You're being too nice. You're being too nice. He's either mentally ill, completely mistaken about what he experienced. Someone maybe hoaxed the shit out of him, or he's just a liar. He's one of those things. I just have no problem saying that. He is, what he's saying cannot be true. Chlorophyll DNA is from How to Hunt. Oh, How to Hunt, man. That dude, he needs to change again. He needs to change the title of his channel to how to read email badly, because he can't even read his emails very well, and that's all he does. That's all he does. He I don't know why people love that channel so much. I mean, I watched it for a while before I figured out that he's just promoting whatever bullshit gets a bunch of people to watch, and people want to believe a bunch of bullshit. You know, Bigfoot's hanging out around nuclear power plants and shit like that. Government cover up and stuff. And I think there is a government cover up, but he plays into that stuff just to get clicks. So chlorophyll in the DNA. That's some ridiculous shit right there. It's a ridiculous claim. It's a ridiculous claim. Aliens are millions of years ahead of us. We will never catch up. Well, when you say that, aliens are millions of years ahead of us, we'll never catch up. That's an assumption. Like, you don't actually know that. Nobody actually knows that, right? Now we can speculate that the universe is vast and universe is infinite in existence in time, that there may be, countless trillions of alien civilizations that are way older than us. But I don't know what that has really to do with this conversation. Tobias says Gary has the most outlandish story I've ever heard. Yeah, it's absolutely nuts. Dude's nuts. I'm sorry. It's crazy. If he actually believes that, he's off his nut. Completely off his nut. Jen says simple answer is don't read his chat. Let him have it. Yeah. I mean, basically. T-Boy says, Jen, that's what scares me. What if? Voltbia says, Fooey, he has more excuses why people can't go there to study. Yeah, that's one of the red flags where people say, they'll tell you a crazy story and then they'll say, oh, but you can't go there. I'm remembering the rim job. Yeah, you can't go there to double check this. No. Team Boy says, Walt, where's Patrick Vaughn been hiding? Hopefully he tucked his tail and went to hide somewhere away from this, because he was full of shit. DZ says there is a Scottish guy called Rick Allen. He thinks aliens are humans from another planet that drink blood and create cryptids and aliens to terrorize humans. Yeah, that guy is full of shit. Absolutely full of shit. Voltopia says, usually see him in Mogs, but I quit then. Yeah, I quit Mogs too. We need a Volta BS video on him. He doesn't have much video other than his stories. Be a tough edit. Gary said that he saw one real close, about 6 to 8 inches away. Sounds like the same person. Go back and watch the live streams. DZ says, whatever evolved first at the center of the universe will be billions of years ahead. The Fermi paradox is bullshit. Right there's an assumption there of a center of the universe. Again, you're probably operating off of Big Bang Theory bullshit. Big Bang Theory hasn't been proven at all, and there is a different line of scientific reasoning that would indicate that there isn't going to be a center probably at all. That's the assumption, that there's some kind of edge to the universe, some kind of limiting edge, and instead of the universe just goes on infinitely. And if it goes on infinitely, it never ends. there is no center. So it's a huge supposition to say there's a center of the universe, but yeah. Gotta be careful not to assume something. Jen says those shows with Gary are gone now, Raptor, just like all the ones I did. Tim Boy says, I heard How to Hunt was going to put some Bigfoot treks together. Sounds like a money grab as usual. Yeah. I mean, we all, I mean, let's be real. This man is a hunting guide who has gotten into Bigfoot email reading. Of course, he's going to start taking people on expeditions. He's now going to be a Bigfoot guide because he's not making enough money as a hunting guide. How do we know? How do we guess? Filter says, don't get how Joe lost that channel. Raptor says, Jen, not really. YouTube puts up the live chats for a little bit after a show. He deleted it, tried to get back, couldn't he? Is an accidental delete. Well, the BS says, if Gary is legit, there needs to be a book added to the Bible. Yeah. The book of Gary. The book of Gary. Raptor says, I was going to say maybe a half paragraph. Jen says, Raptor, the shows with Gary were on the deleted channel. I believe there's nothing left. Let's see. We go for a little bit more of this here. Hold on.
Identified stock asset.
Some people have said, you know, pixels don't match perfectly. You know what? Of course they don't match perfectly. I don't have the exact settings that the artist used, but if you look at it, it's the exact same.
I can't. Yeah, like I literally can't wear these glasses anymore. Like, there's like nothing. It's just so debugged.
This is visual effects. It's really well done visual effects. So I had the joy of being a guest on a podcast, the Danny Jones podcast. They had a UFO believer who believes that this footage is real come on the podcast, and they asked me to break down.
Recognize the guy?
It was visual effects or not, and I presented this. Danny sent me the reaction of the UFOologist.
So as a statement of fact, those do not match.
Dude, it is exact.
This is like saying that my butthole is your butthole because they're similar, right? It's not, we don't have the same butthole because of that.
So if you want to see our in-depth full response to this UFO believer, well, we have that on our website, quarterdigital.com. We're not trying to get into a super deep back and forth here on the YouTube channel. But yeah, it's over there if you want to go check it out. And of course, you can watch the actual moment over on Danny Jones's podcast. There's a link in the description below. Go check it out.
Well, guys, I've heard your complaints. I know you're tired of looking at little orbs in the sky. And that's why I'm bringing the real deal today. I'm bringing undeniable proof of aliens, not in their ships, but on Earth here with us. There's something that has been hiding.
I wasn't going to do the Skinny Bob section, but it's not that long. And since DZ's been here and taking my abuse, shooting down everything DZNGSRT56TN has said, and they, he, she, it, whatever has requested we do the Skinny Bob part, we'll go ahead and do the Skinny Bob. We'll look at the Skinny Bob thing. As you can imagine, they're about to debunk the shit out of Skinny Bob. So sorry, anyone who wants to really believe in the Malaysian flight getting sucked into a portal by a bunch of orbs, but that last bit seemed to be it knocked it down. It did. Now, I still think the government was probably involved. They probably, took that plane out, but go back and read what he says. Why is that douchebag wearing a point special shirt? What? The point? What's a? I don't even know what a point special is. What does that mean? DZN says the Lord of Ord got tricked by the flat Earth. I don't know about this tree portal theory. Jen says, I get you, Raptor. Personally, I don't worry about Gary's chat. He says what he says, and it's fine. Yeah, he got ignored. He's talking to himself mostly.
Highly requested for this show. It's time to give the people what they want. I'd like to introduce you to Skinny Bob.
Oh, Skinny Bob.
This YouTube channel, Ivan0135, uploaded 4 secret government tapes.
Ooh.
And has since disappeared entirely.
Skinny Bob is not a foreign word to me. In fact, I have seen many Skinny Bob request emails grace my inbox. This is the most requested clip we've ever
He's
had.
the OG alien.
Look at this. Look at this.
Ooh.
This is from a
These
secret
are
council
nice.
meeting, I think.
Cameras don't go out of focus like that.
When I film like this. Like, in a.
Like, this is someone who is not secretly recording. This is KGB footage.
Right.
Who is going, "Ah, ah," and then cutting the camera.
Stalin's top men.
Yes.
Oh yeah, hell yeah,
Right?
Skinny
In the
Bob.
flesh.
Look, this is some pretty well done CGI. But the motion immediately makes me think CGI because the weight doesn't shift correctly when he moves around. Like, he's moving the head, he's moving his body, but there's no counter motion, right?
Yep, they're shooting it down. Timmy Boy says DGN. Yeah, you sound like Gary. Yeah. It's probably Gary. He probably is Gary. Gary, is that you? You're showing a video and aren't looking at it, says Icon. Well, I've watched this before, so. But I'm kind of keeping an eye. I got my side door open because it was hot. It's cooled down now. I could shut it, but I'll have to get out. I'll have to get out of the van to go around and shut it. And there's people walking around here, and I don't know who all they are. And, you know, people be just hanging out around here. So I'm just kind of keeping an eye on shit. Looks genuine to me. They look like human gray hybrids, though. No, this ain't genuine. Come on. Come on. You can't believe all this stuff. If you're never going to get to the truth, if you're just going to believe whatever bullshit that you see, you're just going to have a bunch of shit that you believe that's bullshit. And you won't be able, you got to sort out what looks like bullshit and what doesn't.
Also, if the head is that big, like, what is it filled with? Is it fluid, brain matter, or is it just air? Because if it's air, I could imagine it moving like that. But if it's anything denser than that, like, it's going to require some, counterbalance on your torso to carry a noggin of that size.
And the cloth, too,
Right, the cloth is just a static wrinkle.
This was uploaded in 2011. And an argument that I've seen a lot is that this kind of CGI wasn't possible in 2011. Now, just a quick history reminder. Avatar came out in 2010. Jurassic Park came out in, what was it, 92? But this one blinks.
Blinks weren't even a thing until 2013.
There's also one other thing in particular on screen here. I want to know if you guys notice it. That is that I can't really make sense of.
What's the time code for? Yeah.
Yeah, digital time code. Is this 8mm film?
You bring up a good point.
Yeah, how you gonna have digital time code on 8mm film or whatever any film? It's bullshit. It's bullshit. Thanks for looking at it. Oh, no problem. I mean, I've seen it before. I've seen the film before. Everybody's seen the film, but pretty much we all saw it. And most people who keep their wits about them knew it was bullshit, right? You got to be careful. Like, we want to find the truth. I hope they're out there, something similar to that. I mean, a lot of times any legend or lie, there's some kernel of truth somewhere in there that got blowed up. Just like the fish story. You got to fish this long, but you told a story this long, right? Yeah. Someone asked how big your schlong was. You told a fish story. Voltabius says, Raptor, we have seen both of them.
What is this bull crap? Is there a higher quality version? This is like a postage stamp. This is like a GIF that someone ran through Media Encoder and then uploaded. Why are we watching this, guys? There's nothing to analyze here.
Sam's not convinced, I can tell. But here's the thing about this community. Yes, there are some people who will believe at the drop of a hat, but that's not the majority. A lot of people will dig very, very deep. These series of videos, going as viral as they have, has elicited a response from the community that will blow your mind. There is a Skinny Bob website that does literally the deepest dive into any UFO footage I've ever seen in my life.
This is really well done.
Dude,
Wow, this is insane.
I don't know that this is warranted for what we saw personally. There's also some other things that are concerning.
Oh, there's a smoking gun.
This one's smoking gun
Do you
is
have
so
damning
smoky.
testimony?
I want to see a smoky ass gun.
This is the smokiest gun. Someone tracked down the exact film grade.
They did it.
You want to talk exact match?
Those.
You want to talk one
wow.
for one?
Those heroes, incredible. I am so impressed.
Isn't that amazing? They tracked down the actual elements.
God damn. Oh my.
We got them.
Look at that.
Open and shut case.
How they put TV static over film?
This is a great breakdown of what it goes into actually having composite degraded footage.
With as smoky as this gun is, there is still conversation being had. They say, but what about what's underneath all of this? The source footage.
It's like I'm outside. I'm like, oh my god, I have found a video of a real alien, and I'm like, should I upload it? And it's like, no, wait. On5.com. Perfect. Wow, I can't believe Skinny Bob just got dunked on this hard.
That was rough.
It's just like it's.
Just want to shout out to the Skinny Bob community.
Dude.
Love you guys. Thank you for suggesting that we look at this.
And most importantly, thank you to the people who have dissected it and broken it down. Frankly, you guys have done way more debunking than we've ever done.
Bravo.
This is devastating because, again, this was highly requested. Maybe we haven't captured a live alien. Live aliens are sneaky. They get away all the time. You know what's not good at running away? Dead aliens.
Oh, there we go.
They're bad at.
Remember those guys? Oh shit. Where was I in the chat? I'm here. Thanks for looking at it. Yeah, no problem. I mean, again, I've seen it before. Raptor says, only thing I was suggesting, maybe Gary and Patrick are the same person. Just thought I don't know for sure. No, I don't think they were. I don't think they were a Raptor. Volta BS is Raptor. Seen both of them. We've seen both of them. They're different people. Completely different people. Yeah. Heard multiple abductee sites. Skinny Bob is what they saw. Timestamp VHS thing has been debunked. Yeah, you can make a fake video that looks like something that's real, right? So, we're getting really good CGI, really good with AI helping. Now, someone can make a video that looks like it's me talking, right? And make me say stuff that I didn't say. So, yeah, why not? Could not someone make a video that's a fake video with an alien in it, but it looks like, or not alien? That's not an alien. If that's real, that's not an alien, by the way. And the Skinny Bob, if there's anything that looks like the Skinny Bob video, that's not an alien. That's from here. But anyway, so just because it looks similar to what they think they saw or what they claim they saw, doesn't make the video a real video, right? It's still a fake video. You say the timestamp VHS thing has been debunked. Where has it been debunked? I mean, how do you debunk that? And also the element, what do they call it? The speckling element. That was just open and shut case right there. They just smacked the shit out of that video. The video's fake. It is fake. It's a fake alien. Icon says it's technically possible to put a quartz time code imager in a Super 8 camera, but it would be financially ridiculous. Quartz date codes for regular film cameras dates to the 70s, though. Raptor says, okay, I still think it's the same person. You can switch it to really quick here. YouTube now, 2 different or 5 different channels. No, it's different people. They've both been on camera. They both come on camera. Gary only did it like once that I'm aware of, really. But he did come on camera. Plaster of Paris, yeah. People say the PG film is fake too. There is another way to find out what is genuine. Yeah, I'm not sure. I could totally fake that. I could fake that with technology that was available in that time, but you know, it would cost me some money to make it happen to try and do that, but I could do it. No problem. But that doesn't mean it is fake, but I'm just saying it could have been faked. That's a possibility. Jen says Lucasfilm ought to go after them for these fakes. Looks like his puppet. What puppet? E.T. movie puppet, or maybe it wasn't Lucasfilms. I admit, Timmy Boy says, I admit it. I'm Gary, Patrick, and Lockbeard. I don't know. Raptor might be going down a slippery slope of insanity. We may not want to encourage it. He'll start thinking that everyone in the universe is just one person, and all of those, and that one person, their total purpose is to drive him nuts. Yeah, looks kind of like ET, don't it? Yeah. DZ says, "See Humalian" by Jane Pulley. Australian woman used as a hybrid breeder by the Greys. Very reliable account. Well, I don't know how reliable, right? Like who says she's reliable? She could be completely full of shit. She could just be a crazy woman. She just wants attention. You know, she wrote a book. Maybe she just wanted to make money. She knew that if she writes a crazy ass book like this, there's a bunch of people out there who will buy this complete bullshit. It could be complete bullshit. Like, prove, like, has she? I don't know. I don't recall. Like, it's been so long since I've seen anything about that particular woman, because I remember her. And there's been others that claim that they were, maybe she's a woman who no man wants her, so she wants to invent a story where she's wanted intergalactically. These aliens come from across the universe because they wanted to fuck her. she's just trying to make herself feel like she's useful and desirable by intergalactic Casanovas. When in reality, well, who knows what the reality is. Anyway, she could be full of shit, DZ. Prove that she's reliable. What makes her reliable? Who says she's reliable? Does she take a lie detector test? Yeah. We're all the same people now. We all are, says Icon. T-Boy says, Icon, be quiet. They're going to figure out we are the same person. Yeah, Ruthless don't wander over here no mo. No more Ruthless. And Mr. Lee neglected us tonight.
Jesus Christ. Oh, can we try the big silver one again?
All right. Damn it. I think it's time to wrap it up. A little bit clickbaity, I think. Because it looks to me like that the plane did not get portaled away. Unfortunately, it would be so cool if that really happened. But it looks like that video is fake. So my gosh. I can't believe the dude sat there and claimed, oh, these aren't the same. That what, I forget what the name they used for the when the portal opened up and sucked in the plane. That element, I mean, it was very clearly the same. Micah says, hey, he's good, Jen. He got wrangled into a maintenance job at his apartment complex and has been busy. DZN says, when science can't prove something practically, it uses probability equation. 5% of physics, of psychics are also real. 5%, where's that number come from? Who determined that they were real? What methodology did they use to prove that, though? That's actually a good thing for him, Icon, says Jen. All right, let's wrap her up. I'm getting a little tired and a little hungry. And I definitely want to close my door because these randos wondering about. I don't know what they're up to. Especially that one. He's bothering me. He's bothering me and he needs to go fuck away. That's what needs to happen. Voltabia says, I thought you were buying it. Keeps Ruthie out of trouble. Yeah, have a good one, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. And I'll see you guys. I don't know, maybe I think I'm off Thursday. Or maybe Wednesday. I don't know. Next time I'm off, I'll see you guys again. Take it easy.